This is Meredith McCormick. This is the meeting of the Roger Sherman Building Committee on Tuesday, March 16th at 7 p.m. Item number 1 on the agenda is call to order. Our chairman, Mr. Lang, is unavailable tonight, so I will call the meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. First order of business is to hear, consider, and act upon the following items. The first thing is the minutes of the regular meeting of March 2nd, 2021. I will make a motion to accept these minutes as written.
I would second that motion.
Okay, thanks. Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to know, is it appropriate for me to vote when I was not there for the minutes, although I've read them?
As long as you've read them, you may vote. If you're not comfortable with it, then we can put this on the agenda for a future night.
Nope, I'm comfortable.
Okay. Jenna, do you have any questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. So all those in favor of approving the minutes of March 2nd, 2021, say aye.
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 Great. Okay, so the motion passes. Next item of business is to discuss the plaque for Sherman School, and I'll give it over to you, Patrice.
Okay, after long drawn-out consideration and talking with Gerald Foley and reviewing some of the plaques that are already placed in schools in town and putting in my mindset a purpose for the plaque. Number one is that we recognize the volunteers specifically who dedicated numerous hours to complete the project in a most formidable way and present the building that we're going to be presenting. Number two, to come in under cost. Cost has been a concern of mine from the beginning, so I want the plaque to come in as inexpensively as possible, and it's not an inexpensive item. We have broad-based guesstimates between $3,000 and $4,500, depending on the numbers of letters the plaque takes to make. So here is how I have designed the plaque. It's going to be a, what do you call it? Not vertical, but a horizontal layout, starting with Roger Sherman Building Committee. Beneath that, that's 29 letters there. I won't give you the letter count, but okay, I've got the letter counts. Roger Sherman Building Committee, member/volunteers, and then beneath that we have the 3-phase columns of the 3 phases of the project. Under phase 1, we have a date of January 2011, which is what was given to me, and I will ask at the end some questions about areas you may want to change. There are 5 people under phase 1. One person on our list was listed twice. That was Alfred Kelly, and I'm speaking specifically to the information Meredith provided to me. Or Richard provided to me, one or the other. So with the first one, it would be Richard Speciale, Chairman, Alfred Kelly, Vice Chairman, Leonard Amato, Secretary, Miriam Frank, Michael Giaquinto, and Gerard Keogh. And before we go to final on that, I would ask that the committee consider if any of these people do use their middle initial, just a heads up. Phase 2 is identified with April 2013 as the date. I believe these are end dates of the committee, so again, of those phases. So again, we may want to consider putting in a month and a date and a slash and then a month and a date from start to finish if possible. Phase 2 is Richard Speciale, Chairman, Jerry Keogh, Vice Chairman, Leonard Amato, Secretary, and then Alfred Kelly and Jane Albano Purcell. That has only 5 people under that phase. The other 2 phases have 6. So it's kind of laid out pretty well. Yep.
Can I stop you there?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. May I stop you there?
Absolutely.
It's Jane Albano Purcell. I think she would want the 3 names.
Yeah. I have her all 3 for her.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine.
Nope, all 3 for her. And phase 3, we have Eric Lang, Chairman, Richard Speciale, Vice Chairman, Meredith McCormick, Secretary, Patrice A. Klein, Brian Papini, and Jenna Trotzer. That's generically the center of the plaque. After that, I put together a simple statement. I have, after a decade of completed projects, we give to you on this day, and we have January, and I think we need a date or whatever date you specifically want, 2021, the newly enhanced and improved Roger Sherman Elementary School. That keeps it simple. That states the facts. It covers the volunteers, and it is our purpose. And the only other thing, if anybody wanted to make it reflective of the school environment, I would add that we could add the phrase at the very bottom, across the bottom, better than the bare necessities. But that's just my own little.
Patrice, can you just please repeat the last sentence so I have it for the minute?
Yes. After a decade of completed projects, we give to you, or we could say phases there, we give to you on this day, January, I don't know what date we want to use, 2021, the newly enhanced and improved Roger Sherman Elementary School.
Great.
That script on the plaque? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it would take up approximately, the way the plaque's laid out, 2 to 3 lines at the bottom of the plaque. And that is,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot of concern, there's concern, at least on your part, my part, overall. If that whole verbiage was eliminated, what would be the monetary reward, if you will, or reduction?
I cannot give you the exact figure, but it would probably reduce, the cost, anywhere from 10 to 20%. Gerald, could you, that's, that totals, let me see, what did I have for letters? 29, 28, 50. About 160 letters.
Yeah, Rich, it's Gerald Foley. Yeah, it all depends on the size. So when I did this for the last couple, I asked whatever company it was to kind of give us, say this size, this size, this size, and then we could try, eliminating stuff and adding stuff. So it was always very difficult to determine until you got to the final verbiage. Then when I had that, I could ask the guy, what if I add 2 lines or subtract 3 lines? So it's not. I don't think it's an exact science, but most of it seemed to be the size. However big we ended up, because nowadays they can typeset stuff, so they can make it as small as you want or as big as you want. So
Carol,
I think.
What size was the Riverfield School renovation plaque, the one that you sent to us as committee members early on when we were looking at plaque?
I don't know right off the top of my head. I could look them up. They were slightly different, and what ended up happening was they tried to make them match close to the other ones that were there. So in other words, they didn't want a plaque to be too big or to be too small, so we kind of made them fit wherever it was. Even like it was for Fairfield Ludlow, we ended up we tried one size, and no, that won't work. We need to go this size. So it was dependent upon what was there. So if you have nothing there, we can make it as big or as small as you wanted. But usually the more people.
The problem is that we still don't have a location. We would need Dr. Banner involved with that.
Right. So I think that's part of it too. Is that you have to kind of look and see how big the area he's going to give you, and then based on that, we could size it, and I could have a couple companies give you quotes. I mean, you could try.
Okay. Could I ask you to repeat that verbiage again one more time, because this is the first time I'm hearing it.
In closing out the plaque, because we don't we just have the title and the members at the start of it. It says simply, after a decade of completed projects, and that or phases, we give to you on this day, January, and I don't know what date you want because you didn't give me a specific date, January 2021, the newly enhanced and improved Roger Sherman Elementary School. You could take out elementary, it could be Roger Sherman School, whatever you like.
No, I'm just, I'm on a committee for my high school, Holy Cross High School in Bayside, Queens, and we're getting involved in certain things, and we're questioning whether to make the statement that every man is the captain of his own ship and destiny, and that's going to go at the bottom. And fine, I can do that in a Catholic high school. Okay, are we going to be criticized for eliminating education personnel at the cost of verbiage that is almost philosophical? I don't know. I have no problem with it going on there. I
put the verbiage in because I don't want it to be so grossly aware that we're eliminating the Board of Ed, the selectmen, the school principal, the superintendents, of which there's just way too many. When you add all that,
right? I agree.
The plaque and
you'd have a plaque that's it's going to be as large as the sail on a ship, for God's sakes. I completely understand.
Exactly.
No, and I'm just if I wasn't so involved in my own high school on that has just gone with female the last Catholic high school in County Queens to admit females, and we're saying every man, and we have a big we can't say that anymore, which is okay. Now we can change to every person, and we have to be so darn careful of every piece of verbiage that we get involved with, and I don't find what you said to be at all offensive, and at some point I think this is all gone. It's so ridiculous, it's unbelievable, but whatever.
Yeah.
But there's validity in the case of my high school, Holy Cross. Yeah, absolutely. Why would it just say every man? But that was the quote by a very famous person, and now we're going to okay. It's just a coincidence that I happen to have a 11 o'clock meeting just about this today, and it's like preeminent, or it's in my mind, and everything seems to be influenced by how socially carefully we have to be, which has gone to the point of ridiculous. But anyhow, I don't find anything that you said.
But one thing you did say, Rich, rings a bell with me. Are we going to be chastised for putting?
Who are we talking now? Who's saying this? I'm sorry.
This is Patrice.
Patrice.
Okay. It does bring to mind, are they going to be upset that we put in this and did not include the name? So I had one further statement that may grossly accommodate everyone. As we close this project, we acknowledge the continued support of the town, the Board of Education, and the professional independent contractors that helped us to complete this project. That covers everybody in a succinct statement, but
I would do. I think a statement like that, Patrice, might work, but I'm not so. I'm more. I want to make sure I'm not so sure I need to have like the independent contractors or whoever the people are who worked on it, but definitely we thank the principals, the Board of Education, our superintendents, and like town bodies for their support.
Yeah, honestly, I agree 100%. And because I get involved in so many lawsuits because of the professional job that I have, that is absolute legalese that some contractor that down the road is going to use against the town.
Okay, they're out. So the superintendent, the principals, and the first selectmen and the town departments. How about that?
The Board of Ed.
If I can interject my philosophy on this whole thing, it should be volunteers. Those of us that are non-salaried, period. That's it. That's all that should be. And that's in the attempt to get the town folk, whomever they might be, involved in a project because they saw it at the Penfield Pavilion, they saw it, whatever. And the less you leave the governmental aspect and the people that are supposedly in charge, that as we find out how little some of them, I'm getting into little deep waters here, it should be as clean a point of reference as possible. Leave it to volunteers. That's it.
The other thing with putting this sentence on the bottom, I think it sounds like a nice wrap-up, but the only problem I can foresee, personally, I don't think there ever is going to be a Phase 4, and I don't think we need a stage at Sherman School. But if there ever was a Phase 4, I think it would probably be easier to not have that sentence and just add a little plaque on the side. But I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone.
I guess the Phase 4 could always add a separate plaque too at another time. I kind of think it's a nice way to end it personally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why don't we have a vote of the committee and decide it that way.
Yeah, that's fine. But I think we have.
Okay. We can vote to go ahead with this as the preliminary, and then we will, when we present this and get a cost, we will say that edits can be made prior to the final purchase. That way you can edit the statement any way you want then. Just we need to keep it within the cost that we come up with. We have to give the vendors, a general amount of information and the size of the plaque. So I do realize now that from this conversation, I have to go to Dr. Banner and get into the school and find where he wants to put this and where he has other plaques so that we can, when we choose the vendor, we can be looking for the same thing or something that he believes is aesthetically pleasing while accomplishing recognition of our efforts.
Patrice, what date do you have Phase 2 on there? April 2013, did you say?
I have April 2013 was sent to me, yeah. And those confuse me a little bit because it's only one date. It seems like Phase 1 should have a start month and year and an end month and year because, obviously we went for it was a couple of years.
Yeah, but I think if you do that, it's kind of like, well, when did we really stop? Did we stop in January? Not really. We're really stopping in March. And the same thing with Phase 2. The project closeout was like 4 months after it actually.
What if we left off the months? What if we just left off the months and had a start year and an end year?
I would say it's easier just to have the date that it ended. I just don't remember Phase 2 was really quick behind Phase 1, but I can't imagine how it got done that fast, but I guess it did.
Well, this is, the research that you guys did. So I can't even claim to fame to the dates,
Right. I just hate to get it wrong, and no one in Town Hall seems to have it. So it's just based on the minutes that I looked through. At any rate, I just think that maybe it would be easiest if we somehow as a committee just decided, do we want to do this plaque, yes or no? Or how much are we willing to, do we have a do not exceed number? And then if not, we're going to just have to keep having meetings just to discuss this plaque. So I think if we just, I would rather just proceed with, yes, I want to do it. I'd like to make sure, it focuses on the members and volunteers, and I'm happy to spend up to X amount of money on it. But I don't know how everyone else feels about that.
I like that. Why don't we propose a motion?
Does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
I was just going to say I think it would be nice actually for the committee just to see the visual of what it look like, and really when you see all those names and all the verbiage, we'll get a better sense of really how big this thing is, and then we can start to talk about what could be edited. I think it's kind of hard to visualize the size of it, with Patrice just naming what's going to be listed. When we all get to see it, I think it'll make a big difference and be very helpful.
Yeah, I apologize for that. It's just that the verbiage, you cannot believe how much pages of verbiage I've changed throughout this to come up with something really succinct. So what I know now, what I didn't know before is to find out the location, and that basically will help us determine the size, Gerald. I thought the size was more determined by the content. Gerald?
Yeah, it's both, because if you think of it, you can make a plaque, 12 feet by 12 feet or 3 feet by 3 feet, but it depends on how big you want. I think in most cases they're more rectangular than they are square. And then again, it depends if you want them to go landscape, so that they're wider rather than taller, or taller rather than wider. So there's all these nuances. So it's hard to say until you lay out all the the verbiage, and then you come up with a couple different ways and say, okay, what if we did it this way? What if we did it this way? And then, like I said, I could take the text, spin it out to people, and then we could get quotes on a few different sizes.
So I think there's a couple of things, Meredith. I think we should make a motion to accept the project as, yes, we plan a plaque, that it's important for the two reasons that it clarifies for volunteers that it's good to serve your community. We want to enhance the commitment of volunteers in the future. And two, we want to limit the cost, two, we want to recognize volunteers so that they have something for all their time and service, but also recognizing the cost and the placement. So I would propose that we will have to meet at least one more time after I've contacted Dr. Banner and looked at the building and talked with him about a size of the plaque. Then I'll get in contact with Gerald once more and give him just the tentative data that we've got there today, with the board giving an approval once it's submitted to you guys in a form that you can see.
That's fine. I mean, that's fine. Or we could just we could also just vote to leave it in your hands.
It's up to you guys.
Yeah. It's fine if we want to meet again. What do you guys think, Jenna and Rich?
I'm just Gerald. There's no further requirement on the part of anybody, Board of Selectmen, Board of Education, so on and so forth, to approve this. Correct? What's going
to happen? Yes, whatever verbiage you give me, I'll show it to probably to Tom Bremer so that he can pass it on to the first select woman so she knows what kind of plaque is being dispersed. And I'm sure Sal will probably do the same thing on the Board of Ed side. But as far as the verbiage, this is like uncharted waters here. I mean, I don't know who has the final say on what actually gets put on the plaque. I honestly
That's
don't know
that.
At.
Based on what Meredith just said, because I would be happy to hand over my vote right now to Kathleen. But
Patrice.
Bobby?
Right.
Patrice, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could have if we could ask the First Selectwoman's office or Jennifer Carpenter or someone in that office to, I don't know if we want to ask them to confirm that these were the people on the committee, but anyway, I don't know. I'm pretty confident we have the names right. That's from me going through the minutes, and that's who was on the committee when the projects ended. So
I actually was going to bring that up as a second point just now, is that I thought I heard a name missing, but maybe I just didn't hear.
Who is that name, Rich? See, I contacted Jennifer Carpenter over and over again and got literally nothing from her. Between Sal and Meredith's research and
all right,
Gerald,
so we don't have Alex is not on there, right?
Alex was not on there. That's Alex. What was his last name? I forgot. He's the one that stepped off our committee, right?
Well,
Yeah.
he never really stepped off officially. I think
No,
just
he did step off.
recently. I think just recently
he
he stepped off.
Yeah,
it was written in, but it was acknowledged from October, I think, or.
Right.
No, I believe it was January when he officially, withdrew from our committee.
Yeah, because which is fine. He shouldn't be on it. He never showed up for a meeting, to my knowledge, ever. But whatever. Who do you have as volunteers on the committee?
Volunteers on the committee. Phase 1 were yourself, Alfred Kelly.
No. This committee.
Oh, on our
phase
3, Eric, yourself, Meredith, myself, Brian, Pepini, and Jenna.
Okay, Brian's last name. Okay, right. Yeah. That was
Pepini, yep.
And what date are we putting for phase 3?
We had January 2021 was given to me. I mean, we can move that back to March if you want, whatever you guys decide.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can just tell you, like, the other dates, I think that they were, I'm not sure, I think that was kind of when the project was officially kind of closed out and handed to the Board of Ed, which I feel like it's more like March than January. I think whatever it is, we should just make sure it's the same across all 3 phases if we can.
Yeah, I agree. It could go into 2021.
Okay. I can try again with Jennifer Carpenter and some of the people over there on the town side.
Well, all of the minutes are online still from 2011. So what I did is I just went through.
I have the pages you sent me, Meredith, because you.
Yeah. I mean, I just went through the old minutes because the other thing that's a little bit hard is, so let's say during phase 2, we went with the officers who were in place at the end of the project. And that wasn't always, they weren't always the same officers during, say, a 2-year building thing. But you have to do something, right? So it makes sense that.
Well, unless you want to eliminate officers in general, it's up to you.
No, because I do. No, I think it's honestly, I think it's fine the way we have it. I'm just saying there are some nuances, and I think what we have is across the board. We have the volunteers who were on the committee at completion, and those are the officers. Yeah.
We went through this.
Yeah.
We went through this on the Penfield Pavilion, where we actually had one of the committee members commit suicide. So. And we deliberated, what should we do? Which is a tough one, okay? The man committed suicide, and we decided to leave him off because that's the way we decided there. And I think that's right, wrong, and indifferent. Who's ever at the committee at the end, that's it.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be held accountable to anybody for the committee members' names other than somebody eliminated entirely, and I honestly don't know how to not have that be a problem. I mean, if it was a big deal, we'll find a way to add them to the plaque, I think. Like I said, the plaque comes out with the 3 phases. There are 6 names under 1 and 6 names under phase 3. Phase 2 only has 5, so there's a little spot there we can leave in case we forget somebody.
All right, there you go.
So I think we got that covered.
I think so. I think we kind of drag this out ad infinitum here. The thing is, we're being conscientious about the cost because that's what we're supposed to monitor. We're supposed to monitor who served, and we're supposed to perhaps present an appetite for volunteers to get their name on a bronze plaque. That's the way I see it. I mean, period.
Yeah.
And if you come, Patrice, if you come to a conclusion that is rational and right, I'm all for letting you make the decision on these minute to minute, or I guess maybe that's not legal, but
how
that's
about
the way.
how about if I seek final committee approval from one member of the chair, vice
Executive
chair,
committee,
chair, secretary, whoever I can reach who concurs with me,
right.
Then it's a go.
Why don't you just say
I'm
the chair?
okay.
I mean, Eric's around. Okay. Don't you think
Okay.
it should just be the chair?
That'd be great.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to make a motion. My motion is we should have a plaque made to recognize the volunteers that have I'm not even writing this down, to recognize the volunteers who have worked for the past 10 years to renovate Sherman School, keeping in mind, and then what should we say, spending, like with a not to exceed, can I say $4,500 or is that too close?
Yeah, no, that would be fine, I think.
Okay.
If Gerald can't find a vendor that can't do it for that, then I can.
Okay,
right,
so
Gerald?
not to. Okay,
Yeah,
I just have to write this.
Go back. Yeah, again, I go back to the size. I mean, it's I don't, but I think
Gerald,
40.
I'll
I think
make it work. I promise.
Right. They've been coming in around 3,500, 4,000. So I think that's probably fair. Mm-hmm. You know, that 4,500 number.
Okay. Sorry, I'm like also taking minutes, so I need to write this out. So I'm going to make a motion to establish a plaque to recognize the volunteers. From all three phases?
Roger Sherman, yeah.
Serving on the third phase, phase 3 of the Roger Sherman.
Well, it's really all the volunteers. So the volunteers who
okay. Yep.
On all 3 phases of renovations, not.
Well, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense because everybody did not, of the volunteers that are going on it.
Okay, the volunteers who
served on any or all parts of the phase, any part of any of the phases.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to have to scrub that language up a little bit. I think it's a little disjointed. But
yeah. Well, all right. I need to think for a minute unless someone else has a better way.
Yeah, no, we can prove it. Yes, yeah. And then you'll scrub it up to what it is. Well,
no, but this is the motion here, so I got to make the motion so everyone can vote on it. So make a motion to establish a plaque to recognize the volunteers. I'm going to say to recognize the 3 building committees. To recognize the 3 building committees who oversaw renovations on Sherman School.
Renovations and additions, then, if you want to really be 100% correct.
Just renovations and enhancements, whatever. Mm-hmm.
Okay, renovations and additions on Sherman School, not to exceed $4,500 with Chairman Eric Lang having final approval on plaque wording. Does that make sense?
Final approval on specific plaque wording. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am making a motion to establish a plaque to recognize the 3 building committees who oversaw renovations and additions on Sherman School, not to exceed $4,500, with Chairman Eric Lang having final approval on specific plaque wording. Is there a second?
I was just going to ask.
Second.
Oh, okay. I was just going to ask if there was any...
second, but you can end discussion, and so there's discussion.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Seconded by Rich Special, and then Jenna, discussion.
Sorry. I just wanted to ask if there was anything prior to 2013, which technically I know was covered under a different plaque, but just for your wording, you
January
stated,
2011 was the first phase.
Yeah, right. So I just would put the dates of what the renovation, what the plaque includes, maybe in the wording, from 2013 to 2021.
Okay, but
no,
3 building committees.
2011 to 2000.
Oh, sorry, 11. Yep.
Okay.
So I would just clarify.
Okay.
In the motion.
Interjecting into the discussion, if you're done, I can tell you, having seen the waterfall, which I assume that everybody knows what the waterfall is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roger Sherman School is going to, again, will be coming up shortly not very shortly, because we're just starting to do Burr, but we just awarded the contract on Burr and 4 other schools, and Roger Sherman was supposed to be in that group but got pushed back. So we are going to do a roof at Roger Sherman. So just be aware that the project, and knowing how things go, in just for your consideration, for FYI, there's a possibility that stage might happen at some point, especially if the roof comes up on the agenda and there's an abundance of money or something like that. These things tend to get hinged together.
Rich, I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you. I'll make sure that there's a possibility to squeeze in some kind of phase 4 committee there. Okay.
Right.
We'll put that under consideration for the dynamics of the plaque. I just have to, at this point in time, I have a new charge. I've got to get over.
Okay, you have gleaned
Dr.
exactly
Banner.
my point. You've gleaned exactly my point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I absolutely have your point. Mm-hmm.
Is there any other discussion?
No. We're just amending the previous motion to include the significant dates of work of volunteers to be from 2011 to 2021, the time period.
Right. Okay. So the motion on the table is to establish a plaque to recognize the 3 building committees who oversee.
I'm sorry. I'm going to screw this up. I'm sorry. I think, I hate to do this. I think that there might be some stuff that I know about because I'm so involved in other projects, and with that maybe Eric should not be alone in that decision.
All right, then what about the executive committee?
I would go with executive committee.
That's fine.
All right. I'm going to make a motion.
If you want to say 2 members of the executive committee?
How about a majority? Yeah, whatever you want.
Is it logical? Should
you obviously have a reason for not leaving it up to a lone wolf, so I think it's fine, and 2 members makes it easier than contacting 3. So go ahead and put that.
Well, that's exactly part of it, and I think also the liability to place on Eric alone without it should not be okay. Just again, everything I do is I think legal about every aspect that I do, and it's just, well, did you use anybody else or just consult that he has total autonomy on this? I could just hear the crap, because I hear it so often.
So
but
it doesn't have. Well, it's fine. Here's my amended motion. My amended motion is to establish a plaque to recognize the 3 building committees who oversaw renovations and additions on Sherman School from 2011 through 2021, not to exceed $4,500, with 2 members of the executive committee having final approval on specific plaque wording. Is
Perfect.
there a second on the amended motion? All right, Mr. Special seconded the amended motion. Is there any discussion?
No, wait, I don't want to let Patrice second
it. Patrice seconds the motion.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Yay.
So all voted in favor.
I don't want it to appear self-serving for whatever.
Rich, you're very sensitive today. Okay. Is there, moving on down the agenda, is there any old business? No.
Nope.
I spoke with Mark. He had nothing to report. Is there any new business anyone wants to bring up?
Just on new business, Meredith, in light of the motion above, I would like, 2 weeks to accomplish the task of getting in touch with Dr. Banner and finding the size, and then reconnecting with Gerald and getting, something on paper to pass to the executive committee.
That's fine.
Thanks.
Okay. I would like to just bring something up to the committee.
Okay.
And since you're going to meet with Dr. Banner, Patrice, and I know your patriotism to the country, the United States,
Okay.
is there a place where I can pay for and erect an American flag on property, on a turnaround or someplace where especially in the back, and I will pay for it.
There used to be one back there, I thought.
There is a flagpole at the school. It's right out in front. It's in the front and by the circular driveway. A big flagpole. They bring a flag out every morning.
Actually, I think there's
two.
two. I think one in the front.
Oh, I'm not aware of that. I thought that.
And Jenna's right. There is one in the back. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
There's one in the back, but they don't use it. I think it's kind of.
We did use it when we had graduation on the back. They did use it then.
Okay, well then I'll leave my statement, whatever, in place, because I'll be willing to pay for as a donation to the town myself.
Okay. I'll mention it to Dr. Banner. Yep.
All right. Any other new business?
No, Meredith, you know what? I'm sorry. I said 2 weeks, but could we just keep in with our keeping and do the April, the first Tuesday in April to re-meet? And that gives
I don't think we're re-meeting now because you are going to give the wording to the executive committee.
Yeah,
and the executive
I can do it in 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's fine. Whenever.
Yeah.
So April whenever you 1st get it
or whatever.
Yeah. We can distribute the wording around, and the executive committee can make a decision with your input.
Sounds great. Okay.
Okay. Any other new business? All right. I will make a motion to adjourn at 7:48 p.m.
I will second it.
All right. Thanks, Patrice. Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Aye.
Thank you,
thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Have a good evening.
Okay.
Stay
You're
safe
welcome.
and get your vaccine.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Get your vaccine for COVID. I'm doing clinics every weekend at Southwest Community Health Center in Bridgeport. If you need a vaccine, call me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.